The air in my sister Lily's new house was thick with the smell of fresh paint and expensive perfume. I clutched the small, potted succulent I'd brought, feeling its terracotta pot grow warm in my hands. I was trying to slip into the kitchen to find a spot for it when my father's voice rang out, clinking a fork against his wine glass. "A toast," he announced, his arm slung proudly around Lily's shoulders. "To our daughter, Lily. A true success story." My mother, beaming, added her voice, loud enough for the entire packed room to hear. "We're just so incredibly glad that one of you turned out right." The words landed like a physical blow. A wave of awkward laughter and sympathetic glances washed over me. I froze, fighting the sudden, hot sting in my eyes, determined not to give them the satisfaction of my tears. Just then, a man I recognized as the Realtor, Mr. Evans, approached me. "You're Hannah, right?" he said cheerfully, completely unaware of the tension. "I just wanted to thank you again for connecting Lily with me. This sale wouldn't have happened without your referral." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. All the color drained from Lily's face. I needed air. I mumbled an excuse and pushed through the sliding glass door to the backyard, my heart hammering against my ribs. Mr. Evans followed me out, his cheerful expression now replaced with confusion. "Is everything all right?" I assumed Lily had told everyone. "Your referral secured my listing, and honestly, after you helped her get everything sorted with that lending advisor, the whole process was smooth." The pieces clicked into place with a sickening clarity. Lily had taken all the credit. She'd let everyone, especially our parents, believe she had done this entirely on her own. Suddenly, Lily was there, her face a mask of fury. She grabbed my arm, her voice a sharp hiss. "What are you trying to do? Make me look bad in front of everyone? This is my day." I looked from her angry eyes to Mr. Evans's bewildered ones. The truth was now perfectly clear to me. Lily had never told our parents she'd needed my financial guidance just to qualify for the mortgage. Standing there in the cool evening air, Lily's betrayal triggered a flood of old memories. I was 12 again, showing my parents a straight-A report card, only for them to immediately ask if I'd seen Lily's art project. I was 20, graduating with honors, while they celebrated Lily's new engagement. It was a lifetime of being the reliable, boring second place. The echo of my ex-husband Mark's voice joined the chorus, telling me I'd never amount to anything on my own. The housewarming insult wasn't a new wound, it was salt ground into decades of scars. As I stood there trembling, I saw Lily pull our mother aside near the rose bushes. I couldn't hear everything, but my mother's name, Claire, and one sharp, clear sentence from Lily cut through the night. "Don't worry, Mom. Hannah will never get ahead of me." I left the party early, the ghost of their words chasing me all the way to my car. The drive home was a blur of streetlights and simmering anger. For years, I had made myself smaller, quieter, less successful, just to keep the peace. I had swallowed my pride, offered my help, and smiled through the comparisons. But no more. That night, staring at my reflection in the dark window of my quiet apartment, I made a promise to myself. This was the breaking point. I wouldn't seek some dramatic revenge, but I would no longer allow them to tear me down. I would stop hiding my own light. Just as this new resolve settled in my bones, my phone lit up. A voicemail notification popped up. It was from Ben, the lending advisor I'd connected Lily with. His voice was friendly. "Hannah, it's Ben. Listen, I know you weren't looking before, but are you still interested in that job we discussed a while back?" Ben's call was a lifeline. I called him back the next morning, my voice still shaky but determined. He explained that a respected real estate firm, where a friend of his was a hiring director, was expanding their financial advisory wing. They remembered my name because of the meticulous work I'd done for Lily's loan application. My organizational skills and financial acumen had impressed them. They wanted me to come in for an interview. It felt like a door I never knew was there had suddenly swung open. I spent the day preparing, my spirits lifting for the first time in months. During the pre-interview call with the HR coordinator, she asked a final, seemingly innocent question. Just for territory mapping, are you comfortable working in the Westwood area? It seems your sister and her husband, Trent, are quite active there and are planning further investments. The coincidence felt like a challenge. I walked into the interview at Prestige Properties feeling a mix of nerves and steel. I answered every question honestly, showcasing the skills I'd used for years, only this time, I wasn't downplaying them. The hiring director, a sharp woman named Amanda, listened intently. Near the end, she smiled and pulled a printed email from a file. "You know, we had a heads up about you," she said, sliding the paper across the desk. It was an email from Lily, sent months ago. It praised my excellent financial acumen and highly recommended the firm consider me if any roles opened up. I was stunned. This was the same sister who, just days ago at her house, had acted as if I could barely balance a checkbook. Why would she help me in secret but sabotage me in public? I got the job offer 2 days later. The formal offer letter was accompanied by a small packet of onboarding documents. Among them was a forwarded chain of emails, including the one from Lily that Amanda had shown me. Reading it again, more carefully this time, the truth clicked into place. Lily's email was less a recommendation and more a claim. She described me as a hidden asset she herself utilized. She wasn't helping me for my sake, she was subtly telling a powerful firm that she had access to a skilled resource they should want. She wanted my expertise readily available to her, but she never wanted me to have the recognition or the platform that would allow me to outshine her. She wanted to keep me as her secret, unpaid advisor. My first few weeks at Prestige were a whirlwind. During my first open house for a charming starter home, I was surprised to see Trent, Lily's husband, walk in. He looked smug, sauntering over as if he owned the place. "Well, look at you, Hannah. Playing Realtor," he said, his tone condescending. He then bragged about a major flip he was planning, a property he was sure would make him a fortune. He looked around the well-attended open house with a dismissive sneer. After he left, the young couple who had been listening to his spiel approached me. They looked concerned. "He tried to get us to look at a property last week," the wife whispered. "It felt overpriced. He wasn't honest about the property taxes. We'd much rather work with someone like you." Word began to spread. I wasn't just selling houses, I was building trust. I saved 2 more young families from bad deals, one of which was being pushed by an associate of Trent's. I was gaining a reputation for brutal honesty and unwavering ethics. Trent complained to my boss, Amanda, claiming I was undermining his business relationships. Instead of reprimanding me, Amanda commended my approach. She valued the firm's reputation for integrity. The support was empowering. That evening, my phone buzzed with an angry text from Lily. It read, "Can you not interfere with Trent's work? You're embarrassing us in front of his entire network. You have no idea how this business works." I stared at Lily's text, my fingers itching to type a furious reply. Instead, I took a deep breath and responded with calm professionalism. I told her I was simply doing my job with integrity and that I couldn't control client preferences. Her reply was instantaneous and explosive. She called me, and in a rushed, angry torrent, she revealed the truth. She and Trent hadn't been the savvy investors they pretended to be. They bought their house with a high-risk, adjustable-rate loan to get the low initial payments. Their entire financial image was a house of cards, a fragile bubble built on debt and appearances. And the most shocking part of her rant was the underlying expectation. They fully expected me to use my new position to help them keep that bubble from popping. A week later, my parents summoned me to dinner. The moment I sat down, I felt the ambush. "We need to talk about your attitude, Hannah," my mother, Claire, began. "Lily is raising concerns that you're actively trying to sabotage her marriage. That you're jealous of their success." I listened, my food growing cold. Then, calmly, I laid out the facts. I explained what a high-risk loan was. I mentioned the overpriced properties Trent was pushing. I did not raise my voice. My father, Frank, listened in stony silence. Finally, he shook his head and muttered under his breath, but just loud enough for me to hear. Maybe your ex-husband, Mark, was right about you all along. The words were a knife, twisted deep into my heart. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I simply placed my napkin on the table, stood up, and walked out of the restaurant. The cool night air felt like freedom. That was the final thread. Their approval was a currency I would no longer trade in. From that night on, I chose distance. I buried myself in my work, investing in advanced certifications. I worked late, built my client list, and slowly, my name began to carry weight in local real estate circles. I was building something they couldn't tear down. One afternoon, Amanda dropped a new file on my desk. We need a full evaluation on this potential flip property. The buyer is being unusually pushy. I opened the file. The prospective buyer's name was Trent. I approached Trent's potential flip with professional detachment. The house was a cosmetic dream, but my inspection revealed serious, hidden structural issues in the foundation, issues the seller had conveniently failed to disclose and Trent, in his haste, had missed. When I presented my report, outlining the six-figure repair bill, he panicked. He'd already sunk his option fee into it. He called me, his voice pleading. Hannah, come on. Can't you just fudge the report a little? Look the other way? We'll lose everything if this deal falls through. I refused, firmly. The next day, Lily stormed into my office, uninvited. You owe us, she seethed. After everything we've done for you, the least you can do is help us. You never carried the family image, Hannah. We do. So you need to support it. I stayed perfectly calm as Lily ranted. I picked up my desk phone and called Amanda, asking her to join us. When my boss entered, Lily's demeanor shifted, but Trent, who had followed her in, continued to spiral. Under Amanda's calm, professional gaze, their story unraveled. They admitted to the risky loan, their desperate cash flow problems, and their plan to use this flip to bail themselves out. They revealed far more than they intended. After they left, Amanda closed the door and looked at me gravely. Hannah, their financial structure is a house of cards, and it's about to collapse. You need to document every interaction. You cannot, under any circumstances, get professionally involved. It's a conflict of interest and a liability. I tried, one last time, as a sister. I called Lily and, without breaking client confidentiality, gently warned her that the flip was far riskier than Trent believed. I begged her to reconsider their strategy. She laughed bitterly. You're just jealous that we're aiming high while you're still playing with starter homes. The conversation was over. The poetic justice, however, was just beginning. The very next day, a client I'd been working with called me. Hannah, I've decided to cancel my purchase with Trent. His numbers didn't add up, and he was pressuring me. I'd like to hire you instead. Your honesty is refreshing. A month later, at a local business association picnic, Lily was holding court, loudly boasting about their million-dollar portfolio plans. I was on the other side of the park, talking with a colleague. A local contractor, a man I'd connected with a client for an honest repair, walked over to their group. He politely interrupted Lily. I heard you and Trent bought the old Miller place on Elm. How are you planning to tackle the foundation issues? That's a known problem in that area. The crowd around Lily went quiet. Her smile vanished, replaced by pure humiliation. She looked like a fraud who had been publicly exposed. Our mother, Claire, witnessing the entire scene, immediately shot a venomous look across the park directly at me. She blamed me. My mother marched over, her voice rising with every step. Hannah, what did you do? Did you spread lies about your sister? I remained calm. I simply stated that I had done nothing, and that the contractor was simply familiar with the local property histories. To my astonishment, people began to speak up. The young couple from my first open house was there. So was the client who had fired Trent. They defended me. They spoke of my integrity and their negative experiences with Trent. For the first time in my life, the public narrative was shifting in my favor. As the crowd dispersed, an older woman I didn't know approached me. "Excuse me, are you the realtor who helped the Smith family? They said you saved them from a terrible financial mistake." My reputation was spreading. The fallout was swift. Within 2 weeks, I heard through the professional grapevine that the lender had pulled out of Trent's flip deal after receiving an anonymous tip about the foundation. I had nothing to do with it. Their funding collapsed, and they were facing massive losses. They would have to sell their own home, Lily's prized possession, to cover their debts. The illusion of their success was shattered. My phone rang. It was my father, Frank. His voice was heavy. "Hannah, your mother, and I need to see you. We have a family crisis. Lily and Trent, they're going to lose the house. You have to fix this. You can't let this embarrassment happen to the family." I met my parents at a quiet cafe. I listened as they laid out the disaster, their faces etched with worry for Lily. When they finished, they looked at me, expecting a solution. I shook my head gently. "I'm sorry you're going through this," I said. "But I can't fix it. I won't risk my professional license or my integrity. My advice is for them to list the house honestly and take their losses." The calm finality in my voice stunned them. They had expected pleading, guilt, or obedience. They received a polite, professional boundary. Later that day, Trent stormed into my office, his face purple with rage. "You did this. You poisoned everyone against us. I'll sue you for interfering with my business. I'll ruin you." Trent's threats were empty, and he soon found that out. Amanda and the firm's legal team conducted a full review of every interaction, every email, every report. My work was not just clean, it was exemplary. I had acted with complete professionalism and ethics at every turn. Trent's claims crumbled to dust. In fact, his own aggressive and unprofessional behavior was highlighted. Prestige Properties formally blacklisted him from any future dealings. The next day, my phone rang. It was Lily. The anger was gone, replaced by a hollow, broken tone. She was crying. "Hannah, they're going to foreclose. We're going to lose the house. We have nothing." I felt a pang of sorrow for her, not for the loss of the house, but for the loss of the dream she had built on such a shaky foundation. Against my better judgment, and against Amanda's advice, I agreed to meet with her as a sister, not a realtor. I offered neutral, professional advice on how to navigate a short sale to minimize the credit damage. I was clear I would not bend rules or inflate numbers. As I explained the process, Lily broke down completely. Through her sobs, a confession tumbled out. "Mark, you're Mark, he told me years ago, after your divorce, that you were incapable of real success. He said you'd always be a follower. And Mom agreed with him." She finally said the quiet part out loud. I drove home in a daze. The full, ugly truth of the betrayal settled over me. It wasn't just casual favoritism. It was an orchestrated campaign of undermining, led by my own mother and fueled by my ex-husband. They had systematically worked to make me doubt myself, to keep me in my place, all while Lily reaped the benefits of my unseen help. I sat in the dark for a long time, letting the hurt wash over me. When Lily called again later, her voice was a broken whisper. "We were just afraid," she admitted. "Afraid of you. You always had more potential than me. We had to hold you down to feel tall." Lily and Trent, still too proud to come to me directly, listed their house with a high-powered agent from a rival firm who promised them a glamorous, quick sale. The house sat on the market for months. The price was too high, the market knew its problems, and the agent's flashy approach didn't work. Meanwhile, I quietly sold 3 other properties in their same neighborhood. My reputation for fairness and honesty attracted serious buyers. My success was becoming impossible for my family to ignore. The final call came from my mother. She was sobbing, truly broken. "Hannah, we were wrong. We need you. Please. I agreed to one final meeting. This time, I held the power. I laid out the facts for my parents and Lily with a calm clarity I didn't know I possessed. I told them I would not rescue them financially. I would not lie for them. I would not sacrifice my hard-won career to clean up their mess. I watched as the realization finally dawned in my parents' eyes. They saw the strong, capable woman I had become despite their efforts. They saw that they had spent decades backing the wrong child. As I stood to leave, Lily looked at the floor, her voice barely audible. Will you take over our listing? You're the only one we trust now, to be honest. I took the listing, but on my terms. I was their realtor, not their savior. I priced the house fairly, marketed it honestly, and was transparent about its flaws. It sold, not for a glamorous profit, but for a fair price that cleared their debts. On closing day, the young couple who bought it shook my hand, gushing about how my integrity had made them feel secure in their first major purchase. My parents watched the interaction, their eyes filled with a new emotion, respect, mixed with a deep, shameful regret. As we all walked out of the title company, Mr. Evans, the realtor from the very first housewarming, was passing by. He saw me and called out loudly, with a warm, genuine smile, "Hannah. There you are. I keep telling everyone, you're the reason half this neighborhood trusts our firm. You're a star." This time, no one laughed. No one made a snide comment. They just heard the truth, spoken loudly and publicly. I smiled, thanked him, and walked to my car alone. I was vindicated. I was respected. I was finally, completely, free.